Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our HE Lounge episode 12. And I would like to appreciate everyone who have been supporting us, joining all the sessions that we have had before, and all the discussion that we have had. And I would like to guess everything that we have been teaching ourselves, everything that we have been discussing on this platform has managed to help a lot of people out there, which is our main objective. And we'll continue discussing more issues in the context of environmental health and safety, and educate the community as well as the organizations across Africa, even at the global level. So today, I would like to take a moment and thank the ESH team for all the efforts they've been putting to make all these sessions a success and everything they've done. Without the ESH team guys wouldn't have been where we are today. So we'd like to appreciate all their effort. And without taking much of our time, let me highlight our program for today. And so our agenda, we are going to start off with a Toolbox talk, just for 15 minutes to allow a few people to join in. And for that presentation, we are going to have Mr. TChinenyanga. He's one of our ESH team, and he's going to share with us fatigue awareness, safety toolbox talk. Then we'll dive into our main presentation of the day, that is gender safety. And for that, we have Helen Wanjiku from Kenya. She's going to present, to share with us her experience and her thoughts, as well as how we can address issues to do with gender safety. Without taking much of our time, I'll highlight just a few housekeeping rules. If you are not speaking or if you are not contributing to the discussion, ensure your microphone is on mute. And of course, if you are about to contribute, you can unmute your mic so that everyone can hear you. This is so as to avoid any disruptions that may come with background noises. And for our video, it's optional. You can leave it on or you can leave it off. That's a personal decision. Then in case the presenter is still presenting, but you have something to say, but you feel like you can't stop the presenter, you can make use of the chat section for any questions, and there will be people that can attend to any issues that you may want to discuss. So let's make use of that section. And also, if you want to contribute to something whilst the presenter is still talking, you can make use of the reaction buttons to raise up your hand or to endorse something that would have been presented. Let's all relax and sit back and listen to this session. Looking forward to a great session. Mr. TChinenyanga, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm giving this opportunity to you. You can take the floor.
Thank you, TChinenyanga. If you can kindly assist me with sharing my presentation in your end.
Let me do that right.
Okay. While you are doing that, I would like to say good morning to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present something with this session. Today we are going to have a toolbox talks, like Nazi said, that it's going to last for 15 minutes. We're going to have a comment section or a conversation section at the end of this presentation. Today we are going to talk about fatigue. It's just a fatigue awareness, workplace, at home. So I'm gonna, teacher, okay, thank you very much, teacher. So I'm gonna just to give you a brief of the incidents that arises from fatigue and the well-known incident that arises from fatigue. As you can see from a projected screen or a shared screen, that it is cited that the root causes of our main significant accident, for instance, the Chernobyl in Ukraine, the Kaufman Joint Railroad disaster, that is 1988, and the Exxon Valdez oil spill in USA in 1989, the Texas City oil refinery explosion in US in 2005. These incidents are also, it is believed that they arise from fatigue. As you can see from the right of this, there are pictures. These pictures, they resemble the effects of these major incidents that is, actually arises from effects of fatigue. Fatigue is also implicated to 20% of accident on major road accidents. It is believed that 20% of the major accidents that happen in road during driving, they are attributed to fatigue. So we would like to understand what is fatigue. It is a state of feeling very tired, exhausted, weary, or sleepy. When you are feeling this, some immediate symptoms that can show that you are fatigued. These are highlighted on the presentation that we have. You might feel very tired, memory lapses, difficult in concentration, slower reaction times. These symptoms, you might feel them while you are at work, while you are driving, while you're at home. These are signs that and symptoms that you are fatigued. And fatigue, it also impairs activities that we have. You may be impaired with ability to make decisions, to communicate. The communicating skills of yourself, they may be reduced. The ability to stay focused also reduced, and your reaction time is also slowed when you are fatigued. Performance and productivity is also reduced. And the background picture of this presentation shows there is a guy who is holding a wrench, sitting down, and shows that he's kind of depressed and feeling fatigued. So these when you're feeling fatigued, you all feel these impairs, and other that are not listed on the ground, depending on an individual that feeling fatigued. So I have also listed some of the prevention measures on the presentation. You might need to prevent these at work. You can opt to have a varied routine of work tasks so you stay alert. That is, you need to change tasks from one task to another. If you spend much of your time sitting down on your computer, or spending much of time on your steering, or spending much of your time on operating or flying something, you need to vary your routine work. That 15 minutes of doing work, you stand up and do something, you change your routine of tasks. You take small breaks. During these small breaks, it is advisable that you stand up, you do little exercises, or do different tasks to make sure that you stay alert and you're not going to get fatigued. It is also important that you tell your supervisor if you're feeling fatigued. This often feel a difficult position to do, especially when you are in industries like mining and construction. Most of the supervisors, they believe that an employee should work within the periods of the times that are stipulated. If you are stipulated to work within 2 hours, then after that you do a break. It is very difficult for employee to speak to the supervisors that are feeling fatigued, depending on the task that they are performing. But it is also advisable that the supervisor should be aware of this, and you should be able to speak to him or to her about this so that you cannot feel fatigued and you may not be involved in an incident that is resulting in fatigue. Work with your employer to manage fatigue-related risk in the workplace. It is important that when you perform tasks at work, you need to speak to your employer about these areas of fatigue, so that the employer could have different systems that can be adopted and implemented at workplace, so that they can deal with these fatigue-related risks. I also listed a number of measures that can be taken to reduce fatigue at work and outside work. When you're outside work, it is also advised that you make sleep as a priority. But however, this one is quite debatable. That when you maybe sleep, you might take more than 8 hours of your waking time while asleep. But it's fortunate that it is advisable that when you are feeling fatigue, you may take sleep as a priority. This second point that I have listed, that is eat light, nutritious meals, drinking plenty of water, limited your caffeine intake and alcohol intake. This preventative measure, it can be taken both at work and at home. It is very advisable that you take plenty of water and also limit the caffeine and alcohol intake while you are performing tasks. In some workplaces, they have adopted and implemented the alcohol-free and caffeine-free workplace policies that they actually adopt and implement this, whereas is to also deal with fatigue. Watch for the warning signs for fatigue in yourself. This is very important, that whenever you're performing tasks at work, you need to watch out these signs. There are several signs that can be adopted and implemented by several employers, that they can put warning signs that the area that or the task that you're going to perform, you are likely to have fatigue. So you need to know before you perform the task. You need to also understand these tasks, these signs, so that you can act according to what the signs are actually entails you to do. Before I step up this Toolbox talk, I would like to say fatigue makes fools of us all. It robs you to your skills and your judgment, and it blinds you to creative solutions. Usually when people they are fatigued, you look like a fool. And when fatigue actually engulfs your abilities and impairs your abilities, it robs you of your skills, even your judgment. Then at the end of the day, you are not able to give a creative solution or to solve the problems that you are working with. And at the end of the day, you are involved in an incident or an accident that may arise. So also, before I wrap up the Toolbox talk, I would like to say, wherever you are, either you're sailing across the sea, you're flying over the world, and you also are driving across the nations, you need to watch out this animal called fatigue. It is important that you need to understand your abilities. You need to take necessary precautions that you need to implement while you are performing these tasks across the workplace and at home. I would like to thank you very much. If there is any other person who have questions and contributions towards this Toolbox talk, it is quite advisable that we can talk about it. Then we'll move on to informative presentation. Anyone with questions, comments, I will leave it to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tinay, for that insightful presentation. And fatigue is actually an issue at our workplaces, at home, in the community, everywhere we are. This is a hazard that requires much attention as any other hazard. It's actually a funny thing that in most of our workplaces, when we do our investigation, we find some immediate causes of the incident. Maybe there was an engine failure or something else. But when we dig down to the root causes, fatigue is one of the hazards that are usually observed. And with that, in most cases, these hazards such as fatigue, stress, mental health issues, psychological issues, they don't get as much attention as hazards such as electrical hazard. And you find out that some of these hazards, they are the main causes of most of the incidents that we record. It's actually a good thing when Mr. Tinay started off his presentation, he highlighted some of the major incidents that have occurred in different countries as a result of, and the root cause of those incidents have been found out to be fatigue. And most of the incidents have had persistent effect and has had cumulative effect. It's actually a sad thing that the Chernobyl incident occurred 40 years ago, but today some of the effects are actually manifesting. We are having babies born with deformities, animals born with two heads. Those are some of the effects that can be felt after someone has been fatigued at work, and you can see that they can go a long way. They can go a long run, affecting the world, the environment, the people, the plants, and everything around it. So in our workplaces, what I would like to advise everyone is let's ensure that we give as much attention to these kind of hazards, such as fatigue, stress, any psychological issues, so that we manage and prevent incidents from occurring at our workplaces. That's what I had to say about the session. And I'm also giving this opportunity to others who might want to share their thoughts, comments, or any questions on the subject. From the audience. Yes, I can see Mike Anenyasha. Your mic is on. If you want to say something. No. Rangarai, Mangundu?
Yes, thank you, Teach. I just wanted to relate on the issue of fatigue while driving. That the moment you start thinking that you might be sleeping, you're actually sleeping for those few seconds, and it's always a good idea to stop, rest, and recollect the energy, and start again. So thank you very much for the wonderful discussion on fatigue. That was my contribution.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ranga. Yeah, actually, driving whilst you are fatigued is as bad as driving whilst you are drunk. The same effects of driving whilst you are drunk are the same effects of driving whilst you are fatigued. Like Mr. Chiney highlighted, fatigue, it can impair your judgment, it can impair your reaction time, it can impair your decision making, and those are the effects of alcohol. Alcohol can also impair our judgment, our behavior, and the likes. So driving whilst you're fatigued is as bad as driving whilst you're drunk. So we really need to address these issues to do with fatigue at our workplaces, at home. Ensure you assess yourself to see if you are fatigued. You can pick up on some of the things that have been highlighted by Mr. Tinei and address them so that you prevent any effect of fatigue. Yes, Mr. Mpunga, I can see your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I think the issue of fatigue is quite broad, and unfortunately, sometimes we encourage ourselves to keep pushing. And I can imagine a scenario in the workplace where someone is issuing instructions from a distance, whether via radio or other, and someone has to take some actions. And sometimes these actions can put others at risk, whereby out of fatigue, you take the wrong action or follow the wrong instruction. So I think fatigue is one issue that needs to be addressed at all levels, whether be at the road or being in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mpunga. Thank you for that contribution. Yes, we need to address these hazards, and telling your supervisor that you are fatigued, I don't think it will appear as incompetent. Even working when you are fatigued, that's a sign of incompetence, because, like as highlighted by Mr. Tinei, fatigue can impair your performance, can impair your productivity. So you won't hit 10 targets when you try to endure fatigue. You won't hit 10 targets when you try to work whilst you're tired, exhausted, or feeling sleepy. So it's better you inform your supervisors and see what can be done to assist you. That's my way to everyone. Is there anyone who would like to contribute on this subject?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, Langston, I can see your mic is on.
Good morning, everyone. I'm good, and how are you?
How are you, sir? I'm fine.
Good. I think the quick one on what you said about not being incompetent when you tell your supervisor that you are fatigued, you're feeling the fatigue. Most of the supervisors intend to ignore the employees whenever they say they are feeling fatigue. And I would urge much on the supervisors they should not put the employees under pressure. They've got the targets that they want to achieve. And an employee, when he says he's not feeling well, he's got fatigue, the supervisor will be like, no, you're lazy, you're being this. I think the supervisor also should be one of the guys to enforce this. Whenever an employee says he's not feeling well, he's got a fatigue management, let him rest. I think that was my contribution.
Yes, thank you, sir, for that one. Yeah, that's true. Supervisors, it's actually a challenge for us. Whenever an employee comes to you and communicates some of these issues, let's make sure that certain measures are taken so as to prevent other effects that may arise. And this challenges also comes to employees as well. Issues to do with fatigue, your supervisor cannot pick it by his or her eyes that my employee is fatigued. So let's ensure that whenever you feel some of these symptoms that have been highlighted, you communicate them to your supervisors and they can see what can be done. Also, we have Tine. You can come up, say.
Thank you very much, Mungazi. There is a contribution made by Proceed from the comment section. It is important to take note of the 3R. This is one of the implementation, the initiative that can be taken as supervisors and employees at workplace. The 3R, that means refresh, refocus, and re-engage. I just need to re-emphasize on this one to those guys who are not going to read through our comment section. There's a very good condition from Proceed Siranda that he made there. Thank you.
Thank you for highlighting that. I guess and let's implement them in our workplaces, at home, whenever we are driving, whenever we are doing anything, so as to prevent fatigue. Is there anyone who might want to say something on this subject? Okay, I guess, yes, son, you can come up, say.
Hello?
Yes, son, you can take the opportunity. Yes, you can speak up.
Okay, I think the issue of fatigue is a very pertinent issue, especially in the workplace, because most of the times supervisors consider people who openly come out and express their feelings or conditions, and then they are considered as laggards. So I think it's up to us as the leaders, as the supervisors, to accept anyone who clearly come out and express his condition, so that we will not end up having injuries or accidents in the workplace. And at the end of the day, we really want to achieve quality job. So if we work with people who are fatigued, we are most likely to get poor quality job. That's my contribution.
Yes, that's very true, sir. Thank you for that one. Son, you wanted to say something? I can see your hand is up. Okay, so let's move on.
Hello.
Yes, son, you can come up.
Yeah. Thank you. When we are considering these factors, we can add some environmental factors, like when we are working in a very high hot climate, there is a chances of fatigues because when we are working in Middle East and all, especially when the oil and gas sector, there is a lot of heat and hot climate there, and also when we are working in the running plants, live plants, so very there is a chances of fatigues there. Then one more thing we can add is in the current scenario for this pandemic situation, while we are using this mask and all, while we are driving, there is a chances of getting oxygen deficiency in our body, so we can't concentrate while driving due to this lack of oxygen in our body. There is also chances of concentration and taking a decision immediately to apply the brake or putting the signals or something while doing the driving also. We can consider all these factors. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Son, for that contribution. It's actually a good thing you put something about the COVID times. Yes, okay. Now, we've seen most companies, most organizations, they've implemented administration measures such as decongesting and working at home. And with such measures, you've seen most people taking up more workloads than they usually do. And with that, it's one of the leads that can cause fatigue when you are trying to meet targets with in a minimum time with a lot of tasks. And that's some of the issues that can brought up fatigue, and we really need to address fatigue. Thank you for that one. And he highlighted that we should also take note of our working environment. There are different working environments that can contribute to fatigue, and we should also take note of that. Thank you, Mr. Son, for that presentation.
Yeah. One more thing I want to add to you. So for the supervisors also, they can implement the work rotation for the work crews. So that is also better to take some groups they can take the interval time to get a off time or something. Work rotation is very get a best idea or best for the work for these cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Son. Thank you for that one. Thank you for your contribution. Is there anyone who might want to add up something on this topic? Okay, I guess this brings us to the end of our toolbox talk. Okay, yes, Penelope, Ngwenya, you can come up. Penelope, I can see your hand is up. Yes.
Actually, a question. Good morning. Mine is actually a question. I'm saying mine is actually a question. I'm not sure if it was covered. I joined the meet as a way of investigating psychological hazards. Like, how can you tell when there's a psychological hazard besides the employee coming to you? And do we have anyone who has a way and so forth? Do we have a way of investigating hazards without waiting? Considering that in most companies.
Okay, I think I kind of picked what she was trying to say in regards as to how you can pick. I think she mentioned psychological risk and fatigue. And in my experience, I think in time you start to know your colleagues. You know, if it's a supervisor or a team member, over time you start to know your colleagues, to understand them. So it becomes important to be able to pick up those early signs of fatigue, their mood on the day. If someone is usually very loud and all of a sudden they are quiet, those can be the telltale signs that someone is not in their normal state. So it then becomes the responsibility of the supervisor and teammates to highlight those things, whether you pull your colleague to the side and just have a chat so you understand. Sometimes it's challenges from home. you know, especially in these times that we are in. Stress is a major issue. You know, people are facing challenges of finance and, you know, unsure if they've got job security with COVID, and all these things are things that can impact a colleague psychologically and lead to fatigue as well. So it becomes very important that we know each other. Be your colleague's keeper. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fungai, for that one. I guess Penelope has been answered. Fungai, the main point that has been raised by Fungai is that be your brother's keeper. You know your colleagues, you know everyone you work with, you know how they behave when they are happy, how they behave when they are sad, and you have to pick up those things. And when they are sad, you have to communicate with them to see if there is any help that you can give them. Thank you for that, Fungai. Okay, there's a lot of traffic on the chat section. Some people will just read a few comments that have been raised. There's this one from Stella Momoneka saying it is a key to have fatigue management procedure, and it must be well communicated to the line management and employees. This will encourage employees to come out in the open to say if they are fatigued, especially knowing that they are working in line with the procedure. Supervisors are to be held accountable if they fail to work in line with the procedure. Yes, communication is key when it comes to fatigue, and as supervisors, she's urging us to follow the procedures and help our employees get rest and also address the issues of fatigue. There's another comment from Mamolapo saying the issue of providing psychological first aid is also important at the workplace, because we have employees who are going through so much at home that they get to work and are seriously fatigued. Yes, like Fungai highlighted, some of these issues emanate from the home, they emanate from the society, they emanate from different environments, and you cannot block them out because you are at work. They tend to affect you, and they tend to affect how you proceed with your work. Yeah, thank you everyone for all those contributions. Is there anyone who might want to say something before we close up our Toolbox talk? Okay, I guess not. So let me take this opportunity to thank Mr. Tinay for preparing a good presentation and for sharing us this presentation with us on fatigue awareness. Let's address fatigue issues at our workplaces, and let's have procedures to manage these unforeseeable hazards that we have at our workplaces, so that we prevent them from escalating into accidents or incidents that can last longer than we can think. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, teacher.
Who participated in this discussion. I guess everyone has learned one or two few things.